Okay, so let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Frontiers Info Day, and thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're joining us via Zoom or tuning in through YouTube, we're very happy to have you here with us. My name is Anna. I'm here with the rest of the Frontiers team for what we hope is an engaging session about our science journalism in residence program. Our plan for today is starting with a brief presentation of the Frontiers initiative and have I'm sorry, I'm hearing some, and have a closer look at the details of this second call, and then open the space for your questions. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to give the floor to Rita Silva, Rita from the Frontiers Consortium, and I'll ask Rita to make this presentation about our initiative and about this call for applications. Rita?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I will just share my screen with you so you can see our presentation that we have prepared. So I am assuming everyone can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
so moving on to a brief presentation of this project before we jump into the Q&A section. I will, as I said, just give you an overview of the project and the residency program in particular. Then we will go through some of the questions that we have already received from prospective applicants, and then open the floor to your questions. So the Frontiers project, as most of you are aware by now, is an ERC-funded initiative to design a residency program for science journalists that want to spend a period in residency in a research institution. This project started in 2023, and it will run until 2027. We have currently 4 partners running this project: Inspire Science, our coordinator in Israel, the Center for Ethics in Science and Journalism in Italy, the Nova University of Lisbon in Portugal, and the Pompeu Fabra University in Spain. Here we highlight 3 main values of this project. The project fosters ethical science reporting. As we know, it's a branch of journalism that specializes in communicating the scientific work and results to society, and we understand the importance of ethical science journalism. So this is one of the core values of our project. Then also very important to this project is journalistic independence. The Frontiers project favors a bottom-up approach where the science journalism journalists choose their own research institution where they want to spend their residency, their research project, their science field of domain, being social sciences, life sciences, physical sciences. So it's up to the journalists and then up to our team to guarantee this independence throughout their residency project. So at any point we will interfere, of course, with the journalistic work, and we will ensure that the host institution values the same approach. And then a core value also of our project is frontier research. So frontier journalists will focus on frontier research topics. These are topics that deal with scientific questions that are at the edge of the available knowledge. We will go into more details of what is frontier science in the context of frontiers, and why it is important that this is very clear in the journalistic proposals that we receive. So moving on to the residency program itself. So as I mentioned, we will establish a support structure to maintain this residency program. A total of 40 grants will be awarded and distributed in 4 calls. So the first one is already closed, and the first fellows are starting their residencies at this moment. And this current one is still open until 25 of September, and 2 more will follow. So each residency should last between 3 to 5 months. This is up also to the journalists to decide the expected length of their residency. After being selected as a Frontiers Fellow, the journalist will receive a payment that will cover accommodation, travel, any potential taxation, and the daily expenses for their residency period. And these grants will be distributed according to the career level of the applicant. So we have 3 career levels for early career scientists. So journalists with less than 5 years of experience. A grant of up to 4,000 euro a month will be available. For mid-career journalists, a grant of up to 5,000 per month, and for established journalists, so with more than 10 years of experience, a grant of 6,000 euros will be available. So, and then who can apply? So for science journalists, we are open to applications from journalists all over the world, so living in or outside Europe. These professionals can work with different formats, so audiovisual, media, multimedia content. So the journalistic format is also up to the applicant to choose for their residency. And then we expect also that the science journalist allocates the expected time to fulfill their journalistic proposal during the residency. For institutions to host a science journalist, they should be located either in a EOA member state or an Horizon Europe associated countries. We have currently on our website a list of these countries. We can also paste it here in the chat for your convenience. These research institutions or project groups should also, as mentioned before, do scientific work in frontier research. This is also a criteria for the evaluation of the proposals. And then the host institutions, of course, should commit to support and guarantee the full independence of the resident journalists during their residencies. Then how does the journalist apply? So the first step is to select a host institution group. We have on our website a database of institutions that are willing to host a journalist, but it is not mandatory that the host institution is on this list to be eligible. So we encourage, of course, the journalists to choose their own institution according to their needs. After selecting this host institution, then they should sign a commitment letter, send it to the journalists, who will then complete the application form that is available on our website. So in this application form, the journalists should provide information about themselves, about the host institution, and then a detailed residency project. And then in this same application form, it should be submitted via our website. Then after the submission of the proposals, the evaluation procedure will be the next step from our part. So we divide the evaluation procedure into steps. The first one will rank all the applications received based on 3 main criteria. So we will evaluate the residency itself, the journalist, the profile of the journalist, and then the research criteria. After ranking all of the applications according to this criteria, the second step will ensure that we will have a diverse and inclusive list of candidates based on their career, gender, geographic distributions of the residencies, and also the scientific areas covered by the residency. Just to give you an overview, as I said, the first round of applications has already closed. It opened in December 2023 and closed on March 2024. A total of 33 applications have been received, and of these, 7 candidates have been selected for the first round of fellowships. You have here the names and faces of all of them. Practically, all of them are, except for one, has already begun their residencies. And here I encourage you to follow our social media to know a little bit more about what they are doing, their experiences as Frontiers Fellows. And then, as you probably know, the second round is still open. It will close on 25 of September at 5 summertime time. And by the end of November, we are expecting to communicate the results of this call to the applicants. After this announcement, we expect the residencies to begin between January and March 2025. And then here, one thing to have in mind is that there will be also a training program where all the fellows will be in person to participate in a seminar about science journalism and about science communication. This location will be defined soon, and it is expected to take place in the spring of 2025. And then moving on, these questions that I will present here are already on our website. You can find them there. But just at this point, maybe we will have some questions that may already been answered in this frequently asked questions section. So to start with, who can apply? So as I mentioned before, the residencies are aimed to science journalists of all nationalities. And then a second question that follows is that these grants will be assigned directly to the selected journalists. So at no point the host institution will be required to handle any of these grants. And then about the time frame, as I mentioned, for the second round of application, we are expecting that the journalists start no later than the end of March their residencies. And then moving on to what is frontier research in the context of this project. So the frontier grants will be awarded only to projects that have a clear frontier research context in their proposals. So we list some of the criteria for a project to be a frontier research project. We also have on our website a short course of what frontier research is in the context of our project. But just to give an idea, these are basic research projects. They tap into uncharted waters. They push the boundaries of knowledge. They have an aspiration for excellence, leading to new discoveries. They involve high risk. They are first, best in class, and address complex global challenges. Then for researchers that interact directly with the Frontiers fellows during their residencies, they are of course welcome and encouraged to work alongside the Frontiers fellows during their residencies and help them navigate the day-to-day and activities of their research institutions. On the other hand, the communication departments of the Frontiers for the Frontiers fellows will also be a great help in also navigating and understanding the workings of the host institutions. But however, at no point there will be the Frontiers fellows will be asked to participate or to be involved in the communications of the frontier research. So of the host institution. We are not expecting that the journalist will be a PR for the institutional communication team or to take part in any activities that do not relate to their research projects. So what type of commitment is expected from a fellow? So as mentioned before, they should allocate their time and focus on their project. They should, of course, interact with researchers and other professionals to take part also in the events organized by the host institution. They should actively participate in the training events that we will organize. They should collaborate with our team in disseminating and providing experiences of their Frontiers research program. They should also provide feedback on their residency and then participate in the final conference of the project that will take place by the end of the project, so 2027. From the host institution, what is expected? We expect that the host ensures a fruitful and enriching experience for the journalists, so working space with the Wi-Fi, access to all the institution areas such as the canteen, library, electronic resources, and others. They should also invite the fellows to participate in activities to encourage the debate about science journalism and science communication within the institution. And they also should collaborate with our team in documenting this experience from the fellows. Again, this is just an overview of some of the questions, of the most frequently asked questions we have been receiving. But I am sure that you, at this point, may have others, so we are here to answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita, also for all these details and about these details about the applications, the questions that may arise, but I'm sure there are other questions. We'll now open the floor for your questions. If you're joining us here on Zoom, you can either raise your hand or submit your questions in the chat. If you're with us on YouTube, just drop your questions in the comments and we'll pick them up. While we gather your questions, let me just introduce you to the other team members that are here with us and who will join us for the Q&A. So we have Joram Barzif, Andrea Motola, Fabio Turone, Cristina Ferrario, Carolina Llorente, and Antonio Granado. So these are the Frontier members, the members of the Frontiers teams who are here with us today. I think I did not miss anyone, I hope. So we have already some questions here in the chat. Okay, so we have here the first questions, I think maybe for you, Fabio. The questions is about the work sample. So the work sample that are available are non-English, and the instructions say that the applicant should submit an English summary of all non-English work samples. And does this mean a summary for each work sample or one common summary for all non-English work samples? So, Fabio?
Well, in the application form, we have a limited amount of characters, and the idea is that the overall space allocated is for an English description of whatever the journalist thinks that they will attach. Then the evaluators will have the possibility, of course, to use translation services online if they want to look into the text themselves. The idea is certainly to simplify as much as possible the task of the evaluation committee members to understand. And yes, for sure, for those who do not write in English, it's a clear disadvantage, but we didn't find any ideal solution better than providing a synthetic abstract of ideally each of the stories, but that depends on the applicant to choose on how to make the best use of the available space.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. So we have also a question here from Krishna from India. And Krishna says, I just saw that the slide, we just saw that the slides, that the definition of Frontiers project involves stepping into uncharted waters and new discoveries. And the question is the research expected to tap into uncharted waters and be about making new discoveries? Or are the journalistic articles supposed to tap into uncharted waters and make new discoveries? I don't know, Fabio, either you or Yoram, if you want to take this question.
Well, I start, and then maybe Yoram will also have a say on that. But the idea is that the journalist is not expected to know as much as the scientists do. The request is to find a group, a research group, or a researcher that is personally the research ongoing is a frontier research. Then the journalist will, of course, have their own views on what to produce. We are not expecting any specific outcome from the interaction, but the general idea is that the journalist will independently decide what's the interest in interacting with the research group involved in frontier research, and then something will come up spontaneously because the journalist will know more about it, and during future work they will have this knowledge to share with their readers. So it's a difficult task to identify, even when it comes to scientific research, what constitutes frontier research, and we are not demanding the journalist to do something at the edge of anything. The journalist will only have to propose a journalistic project. And again, we are totally open to bottom-up ideas on what will be the outcome from their perspective of the project. We only expect that there will be a relevant involvement of researchers doing frontier research. Maybe Yoram, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I will add, first I agree, the focus should be on frontier research at the lab that you're going to visit or cover. The expectation is not that journalists should be, let's say, involved at the level of the researchers, that's for sure. But I want to give you kind of a different perspective to look into that. Frontier research in many times is also characterized by having a potentially high gain, meaning that the impact of the research, if successful, is going to be relatively high. And this can be kind of, let's say, the angle where the journalist can make an interesting story based on that, meaning what is the potential, or the potential of the research, the potential of the outcomes of the research in a, let's say, a wider context. And all that, of course, is in the context of this entire project and the grounds for funding it by the ERC, meaning they want to cover frontier research works. So I hope
Again,
it helps.
Let me insist on something to make it clear, absolutely clear. There is no expectation that there will be any specific coverage or any specific story. So whatever the project proposes, we hope, and we are expecting, the project is expecting, that there will be some in-depth interaction with the production or the pursuit of frontier research. So just to make it clear that the goal of the project is not to is not measured based on how many stories come up or anything like that. It's up to the proposals. It's up to the applicants to devise a worthy way of investing their time in strict collaboration or interaction with the hosting institution.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. I hope that is clear. I have here another question about doing a residency that links two institutions. And if in this case, we need two letters of from the host institutions, and if the physical residence has to be in both, or it can be only in one of them, or if it or should it try to cover both institutions in different periods? So how does this multi-institution
But I think that there
residency
are
would work?
two levels at least, and maybe Yoram and Andrea may also jump in. I can imagine several different cases. So you can imagine two institutions geographically close by, and in principle, the more you can enrich your proposal and the more you can prove that you are already involved with high-level frontier research, the better chances the proposal will have. That said, the idea is that nobody will be expected to spend 7 days a week, 8 hours a day in personally dealing or spending their time inside the host institution. So there is the idea that the expectation is that this is the occasion to have a long-term, in-depth collaboration or interaction with the main host institution, but then the journalist will have the total freedom to spend a couple of days talking with other interesting people in the same host institution or in neighboring neighboring research institutions, and to follow their project. So the idea is that at the same time, of course, having the opportunity to spend 3 to 5 months away from home is the added value to this project. So that helps also the journalists to follow whatever they discover. So if they may happen, I can imagine that you go and after a couple of weeks you interact with a scientist. The scientist gives you the names of other people you might be willing to talk to in the same field or in neighboring field, because your questions open up to other kinds of interactions, and that's totally in the spirit of the fellowship. So going back to the request, you could have commitment letters by more than one institution and still be hosted in only the main institution, or you could consider that once you have your hosting institution, you can have interactions with scientists in other institutions without the need to go back and forth and to tell us exactly what you're doing on a daily basis. The kind of it's a kind of it's very, very open to the way that you find the best to accomplish what you said you would accomplish in your proposal. So the project will be the main. Yes, please go.
I think the question was very technical. I think we need to make room for more questions.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to give a technical answer to that.
It was a technical, you gave it already. I'm just saying that.
Okay, so there is another question related with the host institution letters, and the question is how many letters from host institutions can one applicant submit? I'm not sure if this question has to do just with letters or has to do with number of institutions, but perhaps Joran, you can take this one.
I'm not sure about the context, but as Fabio said, we can accept several letters from several host institutions. So technically it is possible, and of course should be in the context of the full application and the work plan.
Okay, so there is also a question here, maybe it's also for you, Yoram, about non-EU applicants. Are they limited to 3 months because of visa, or is there a way to get a visa to stay longer?
Well, this question is not within the boundaries of what we are doing, meaning visa is something which is completely external to what we are doing. The project itself is welcoming anyone, any nationality to apply here, but we are not dealing with any arrangements around that. So it has to do, it should be resolved in a way that which is external to the project.
Now, another question about the work samples. So the guidelines state that the work samples should be from the last 2 years, but if they can be, the journalists can send earlier work in case it's more relevant to their project.
I would say yes. If I remember correctly, maybe Christina can check on that. The wording is that we need to have at least a certain number from the last 2 years. But once you have the minimum requirement and you have other older clips that are more relevant to the project you are submitting, I think that is perfectly in the spirit of the application. So we are trying to accommodate for everything that the applicant might think is useful, and at the same time with the needs to have a rapid evaluation procedure. So that's the kind of balance we're looking for.
Thank you, Fabio. Now this question regards budget. Thank you. The question states, thank you for the budget examples provided on the site. Is it correct that no matter how the budget is broken down, monthly costs, travel accommodation, that the total allowance should add up to the fund level allocated based on your journalistic experience?
Well, that's the top. I think you cannot go beyond that. And then, of course, it depends on your budget. If you go up to the top or you stay lower, and we keep the money for the next round.
Okay, we have also here.
Maybe I want to give you another context here about that. We need to clearly differentiate between let's say the pre-award and the post-award in terms of budget. It has to do with many other questions that we got in the past. In the application file, we are asking for a breakdown because we need to assess, let's say, the feasibility or the work plan or how the work is designed. And this is needed for the evaluation phase. But the actual grant eventually is going to be based on what you provided, but just the total and not more than the max that we specified on the website. So during the execution phase, the post-award, you don't need to handle the breakdown. You don't need to follow the breakdown. You just simply get the grant and you use the money as is. Okay?
Yeah, okay. I think we also have already a question on YouTube. And from what I understand, Rita, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a question about the limit of characters in the application form, and the question is if it includes or does not include spaces. Is this the question? So it includes 2000.
Exactly, it's 2000 characters, spaces included.
Okay, thank you.
Spaces are always included when there is a figure. That's right.
Yeah. So there's a question here which I think more than one person has, that has to do with the starting of the program. So can journalists start the program later than March, for example, in June, if they are currently in the midst of other full-time commitments?
Well, in general, I would say that if you have other commitments, you should aim at the next call. We will have 2 more calls next year and in 2025. That said, because we have a provision, we ask everyone to start within the month of March, because we are also planning for in-person activities, and we want to have all the grantees present at the same time during their fellowship. So that's the rationale. We can imagine exceptional circumstances that will allow for a delay, but we think more about the interaction with the host institution or the scientist, or maybe for the characteristics of the research, and someone needs to be somewhere in the summer or in the winter for maybe meteorological reasons, and so on. So in principle, I would say that when you know already that you will not be allowed to start before the end of March, it's better to aim at the next round, which is expected to be launched, I think, by the end of March, exactly in 2025, with the 3 months. So in the end of June, it will be the deadline, and everything will be from then on.
Thank you, Fabio. So there's a question here, which I think also relates with an adjustment we made also to the application form. It has to do with the CV. So the CV, the question is if it should be written in the text field which is provided in the form, or if it should be uploaded as a PDF, or it should do, or if applicants should do both things.
Maybe Rita or Christina can help me on that.
Yes, so the form, the field that you see, it's a written field, so you should have a free text CV. In the description, you will see what we focus here. So you should state your expertise in the field that is relevant to the project. So basically, yes, it's a free text field. You can upload PDFs of your work samples, and if you of course think that it's relevant to also upload a PDF,
a more detailed CV,
a more detailed CV, you can also do that.
Okay, there's another question here regarding recommendation letters. Are there expected to be letters from editors, from fellow journalists, from scientists? Could you say more about who should we choose as recommenders?
Well, I don't have a specific answer. I can say that depending on the, how can I say, strength of the other materials that you have proposed, you might be willing to provide a kind of a reinforcement. So some may have clips that are not so strong in proving that they are active science journalists, and so the letter from an editor might be helpful in that. So the idea is that, and also from scientists you had already experiences with, it might be useful. So it depends. We gave the possibility to upload up to 3. Imagining that with 3 you can decide to have the support from 3 different perspectives. So it's up to the applicant, really. We do not demand the application, the recommendation letters, because some may not feel like they need to attach one. But yeah, if you want, it's really up to you to identify the person and the qualifications that better help your applications.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. And we have another question here regarding the budget justification. So is it okay if this is an estimation of living expenses and accommodations? And the question is, I'm worried that it could be difficult to give an estimate for a city I don't live in. So how specific and how accurate do these estimates have to be?
Basically, it should be an estimation. We're not going to check the fine details of that. It should be reasonable. It should be in line with, let's say, reasonable costs. There are all sorts of resources over the web where you can check cost of living and compare to what you are used to. But we are not going to use that, but you can use that just to have a rough estimation of these living costs. And that's the best I can say. I can definitely say that we are not going to look deep into these figures. It just need to make sense. That's the rule here.
we have a couple of examples on the website in the frequently asked questions section, I think.
Yeah,
Or
but I think that the question
yeah.
that being asked here is something about something which is not covered by the examples.
Okay.
So I can relate to that, but I think that the best answer is simply to find a reasonable estimation, and that's it.
Okay, there's a question here about how difficult it has been to contact scientists during summer vacation. And so there are two questions related to this. One, if you can add scientists and institutions after you submit the application, or if there is any chance that the application deadline could be extended.
yeah, there is no expectation to extend the deadline, and you can always enrich your proposal. I mean, there is doesn't make sense, because anyway, the evaluation will be on the submitted proposal. So by the deadline, everything will have to be there. So the minimum requirements will have to be there. If you are still waiting for answers, maybe it's better to aim at the next call.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is something that we considered when planning the overall map of calls, and we assumed that since it was opened back in June and it's going to close on late September, it should provide enough time to get these responses. And as Fabio said, if not successful now, we can always use the next call.
Yeah, this deadline was also extend much longer than the previous one. Previous one was 3 months, and now we had from June till end of September. So I believe someone will be responsive within the period of this month. So we don't foresee to prolong it this time.
We still have a couple of days before the deadline, so hopefully there will still be replies. From what I read here, they are starting to come. So I'm not seeing any other questions here on the chat. I think just check with Rita. Do we have anything else on YouTube?
We have one here on the chat just now from Ivan.
Oh, sorry.
So the question, I can read the question. When do you expect to start the third call residencies? I think that Fabio already mentioned.
It is in March.
March.
Yes. Oh, will open in March.
The next call will open in March.
Yes.
We'll close 3 months after that, so in the end of June. And with the summer vacation in the middle, I'm not sure exactly what we will decide, but probably it will be by the end of September, I would say, the final results. And so then the next round, the start of the next round will be soon after and again, before the probably end of February or before the end of March of the next year, they will have to start. If it's the question, I think that was the question, the start of the next round.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So there's someone here that says they missed the beginning of the meeting. Just to tell you that we'll keep the recording of this session that we have been transmitting on YouTube. We'll keep it on our YouTube channel. And in any case, I think, yes, we can send the PDF of the presentation.
And also on the website, right? The link to the YouTube.
Yeah.
You can also see the previous info days if you want to go.
Oh, thank you, Andre, for
Sure.
sharing the link there. So I don't know if there are any other questions from here in Zoom or in YouTube.
Yeah, everyone wrote the question. Nobody took the microphone. That's
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone started like this, and then everyone just followed. So I don't see any other hands or questions written.
We have.
Oh, sorry.
We have one more. So if there are any last minute questions, who should we direct
Yeah,
them
I was
to?
just going to say exactly everything of this. So just a final reminder that we have the deadline for applications is September 25. So make sure to submit your application on time. We are really excited to see and learn about your ideas and to support you in creating impactful science journalism. And if you do have any more questions or need any further information, you can please don't hesitate to reach out. You may find all our contacts and the necessary information on frontiers.media. I think Andrea just shared exactly the contacts here on chat. Also remember to follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, on X and Instagram. And yeah, thank you again for joining us, and thank you for all your questions, for making this session so engaging. For those of you submitting applications now, good luck with your applications. For those of you still thinking about it, yes, please do think through and make sure to follow the adventures of our Frontiers Fellows who are starting right now. And we look forward to listening from you. So thank you.